Are there any accounts in the people that have submitted on your website that are similar to Elizabeth Crohn's superpowers that she claims to have, these precognition abilities and abilities to predict things that happen in the future?
Yeah. We have quite a few of people that have submitted, and in fact, we even ask a survey question. During your near-death experience, for example, did you become aware of future events? Now, that's sort of a mishmash, and I was hoping we could find something where I could say, wow, they made a prediction or had an awareness of a future event, but it's not really convincing enough that me scientifically can say that that's a common part of near-death experiences. But many people, like Elizabeth, have, after their experience, it's sort of an after effect that they have a strong sense that they're aware of or can precognitive abilities, premonition abilities, psychic abilities. So we do see that, again, it's not common, but enough people have described that I think it's fascinating. Again, I know Elizabeth personally, and for her, yeah, I think she's the real thing.
What do you think's happening there? How's that? Do you have any speculation?
And I don't even know that people that have these special abilities know for sure. They just know before their near-death experience they didn't have that ability. After their experience, they do. So I think it's one of those things they just accept it as a gift, something that how they changed. And I don't know that they can nail down a specific physical brain function. I don't know that there's a definite explanation. It's just observational. It changed, and that's their new ability.
I wonder if it has something to do, if you believe the brain filter hypothesis, if some part of the brain maybe got broke, right? Or some part of the brain permanently got tweaked, and now your filter's a little bit broke, and now you can now you can do more. Now you can see more.
Yeah, that is just about the best possible explanation that I think anybody could come up with. You really are more open to those. First of all, people that have a near-death experience to start having those abilities, they may have thought it was impossible that would happen, and yet, boom, all of a sudden, they're having it. So I think it's one of those things, having an openness to the possibility of that happen is probably essential for them to actually experience it. And then a lot of it is confidence building. You have that sort of psychic ability, and you sort of like right after your near-death experience, you're sort of testing the waters. Is this real? Is this possible? But I think for these very special people that have those changes, and they test it and they find that it's real, then that becomes a confidence builder, and then ultimately they can share it with the world and share it fearlessly that, yes, I really have this very special ability. And certainly it could be that pulling away of the filter after their near-death experience, or sort of after effect of openness that keeps them certainly more aware of and more predisposed to have these kinds of unusual psychic experiences.
Have you ever heard of a guy named Gary Nolan?
I dimly remind me of.
Yeah, he's at the Stanford, and he has done studies on I believe it's a fairly large group of people that experience different things, from paranormal experiences to UFO phenomena.
Okay.
And he basically scanned their brains and tried to find any kind of correlating evidence. And what he did find was that there was a specific part of the brain in the caudate putamen, I believe, called the basal ganglia. I might be butchering this, but
no, you got
a specific part of the brain that he says that the neurons in this basal ganglia are far more dense than the average person. And he said that was something that was common throughout all these people that were witnessing these experiences. So his idea is maybe that is part of this, whatever's going on in that basal ganglia. And I forgot what the purpose of that part of the brain is, but maybe you can find that, Steve. What does the caudate putamen basal ganglia do? But why would that part of the brain, being so far more dense with neurons, have something to do with being able to witness phenomena like paranormal or UFO stuff?
Yeah. That's a great question. And first of all, that raises an important issue. We need to be doing more of that type of research, functional brain imaging. We have several different mechanisms by which we can now image brain and its function and locations in the brain better than we ever did before as technology marches on.
Right.
But it's interesting when they have that well-developed part of the brain in people that have those types of experiences, psychic, UFOs, more developed in that part of the brain than other people's brains. What I think about as a scientist, well, is that cause or effect?
Exactly.
And so, is it something that because their brain was more developed than average, is that predispose them to an experience? Or did they have the experience and then in their processing, thinking about it, developing, learning from that experience, did that result in that brain getting more developed? So it's really, again, a good example of where research like that is at the leading edge frontier, and I sure hope we see a lot more of that, because once again, what we don't know about that kind of phenomena and brain function and correlates far exceeds what we do know.
Right. I just remembered too, I had a guy in here a couple months ago who was an Army Ranger. He got shot in the head during some military training, but he was wearing a helmet, so the helmet flew off and it knocked him off his feet, and he had a near-death experience. And when he came back, he had to go get some psychological evaluation when he got back to the States, and he had severe head trauma. And after that, he got admitted to the CIA's remote viewing program, and he started doing remote viewing and training people in remote viewing. And he was explaining this all to me, and it was incredible. And a lot of these people had similar experiences where once they had like a crazy life-altering event, whether it be a head injury or a near-death experience, these people were getting admitted to these black projects doing remote viewing. And I know Bigelow's really interested in remote viewing too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is just yet another vivid example you bring up there of what we don't know about human consciousness, and the potential far outweighs what we do know. I mean, absolutely fascinating. And yeah, I know some people that were in the military remote viewing program. I know two of them personally, actually, and so as with you, I'm intrigued. Again, you just wonder, more about that. A good example where we need more research. We need to have more people studying those rare people that have that gift, and just seeing what its strengths are, what its limitations are.
Yeah, it's just it seems like there is an elevated conscious realm that exists, that people have the ability to tap into, that is completely separate from our sort of 2D reality plane of existence down here. That is, it seems like once you experience that, it's world changing, because this sort of existence, or this whatever this consciousness layer of consciousness is above us, above our plane of existence, it transcends culture, it transcends religion, it transcends nations, everything. And I can understand how that can really blow somebody's worldview out of the water.